I was just doing a live stream on the beach for just a few minutes. The connectivity wasn't great. I just went down there. Yeah, so I just wanted to try it again, see if hopefully the connection stays with us, and yeah, see if some of you guys how you guys are doing, and yeah, to show you the beautiful palms here, because this really is palm paradise here. Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, Cabo San Lucas is just a fascinating place and a beautiful, obviously. The whole Baja California Peninsula is fascinating. You know, it goes from like Mediterranean climate in the northeast, and then you got like this sort of ridge of the peninsula. You got these sort of what are called sky islands, basically conifer forests that continue down all the way from like Alaska to Baja, the coast ranges. Excuse me, and then from there, it you know, you got desert all the way down pretty much, and then once you reach the very southern tip below the Tropic of Capricorn, you're actually in the tropics. And yeah, Baja California, the southern tip, Los Cabos, is actually a tropical desert climate. It is my favorite climate probably out there, just from the, you know, perspective of what you can grow. It's got probably the widest range of growing opportunity, I would imagine, anywhere in the world. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would think tropical desert, you can grow pretty much, you know, most desert plants and most tropical plants, obviously. So that's, you know, you got so many of your bases covered. Temperate plants obviously grow great here. Mostly you'll see tropical and desert species. And yeah, insect wildlife. I've seen that you commenting on my videos. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing, by the way? Where are you, by the way? What's your locale at the moment? Where are you from? As you may know, I'm here in Cabo San Lucas. I live in the DC area. Hopefully my palms are doing all right. We had our cold blast, as you may know, the Arctic blast. Got down to single digits, probably around 7 at my house, I think. Wind chill was certainly the wind chill, because it was pretty windy, I know. But my palms are hopefully in this protected spot. We got to see how they're doing. I'm a bit nervous. The lowest projected was like 14, and then it got down quite a bit colder as after we left. So I, you know, had I known, maybe I would have wrapped my big trackie. Hopefully it's doing all right. Hopefully it won't spear pull. But I will keep you guys updated. I may end up wrapping it when I get home. Although we are having some nice warm weather, I might wait till after that, because thankfully it's kind of 60s, 50s, and 60s in DC now. Crazy. There's always the warm after the storm. Yeah. Where are you at insect wildlife? It is, yeah, it's a beautiful day here. It's in the right around 77 right now, or sorry, right around 71. High of the average high this time of year is around 77. It is just around, yeah, 71 Fahrenheit. Actually, a bit of humidity, interestingly, it said, but usually, obviously, pretty dry here because it's a desert. But although, you know, you got ocean on 3 sides, you got the Pacific and then the Gulf of California, which separates you know, mainland Mexico, or the rest of Mexico, from Baja California. So obviously you got some oceanic influence, which moderates temperatures, and obviously you got, you know, gives you a bit of humidity. Average high here in summers in the 90s, but with, you know, with the dry climate, I bet that doesn't feel quite as hot as back east. Laurel, Maryland, awesome. Oh wow, you're local to the DC area. That's awesome. Insect wildlife. Are you, sorry, I might have even asked you this before. I'm assuming you're not the person. No, you're not the person. There's someone in Bowie, Maryland, who's got there's pictures online of like these needle palms and sable minor up in Bowie. Lots of them, but I'm assuming that's not you, although maybe you do have some hardy palms. Do you have any hardy palms growing at your location? Yeah, Laurel's cool. My brother played hockey at the Laurel ice rink, so I've been up that way a number of times. Yeah, love it. Do you know do you know by chance the National Capital Trolley Museum? It's a local railroad museum up there. I actually volunteer there, so you may see me there if you're up there sometime. That's awesome though. Laurel, Maryland, gotta love it. That is so cool. Yeah, DC area. I always love hearing from local DC area palm people, because yeah, there's quite a few palm growers on you know, on YouTube, and then obviously tons in the area in DC. It's pretty awesome to see. Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, all is well here. Sable minor trichomonas. Oh, it's awesome. Insect wildlife. Those are two great choices. How are you? Did you protect your trichomonas for a tonight? Because I know it did get cold. You probably wouldn't have needed to protect it. You know, assuming, but unless, you know, if we continue to have some cold temperatures, maybe smart too. But how big is your trachea, and How's it doing? Do you know how cold it got at your location? Because I looked like it got to around 7 degrees Fahrenheit at my location. That was just one night though. You know, every day was in like the coldest highs were in the 20s, and then mostly in the 30s and 40s. And then now it's like in the. I saw they had a high of 55 today, and then a high of 60 tomorrow. So DC's getting some balmy weather, more like Cabo looking like. And yeah, that's awesome. And I would, you can definitely, needle palms bulletproof in the DC area, as you may know. Some of the trunking sables, like the hardier ones, like Sable Louisiana, which is variety of Sable minor, Sable Birmingham, Brazoria, as well, are two great species. I know at least Brazoria I've not heard about being tried in the DC area. I would assume it's decently hardy, and then Birmingham seems to be a pretty hardy species where we are. There's a huge trunking one that I have a video of. Probably around 8 feet tall, at least, in a yard in DC, and at least the last winter was not protected. Seems to be a good species for us. They're still seedlings, so I've never took them out. Oh, got it. I also have a coconut palm. Oh, that's awesome. I've got a coconut as well. How big is your coconut? My coconut, probably around 3 feet, I'd say. Yeah, maybe 4 actually. And then that's awesome. Your Mexican fan palm, by the way, is actually native to where I am right now. It is a Baja California native, and specifically the southern end of the peninsula. Although it looks like it's native actually up to a pretty good distance. I was gonna make a video. I still don't know, but I was interested in making a video maybe about talking about whether the Mexican fan palm is a truly tropical species. I might need to do some more research on that, but it is native to, I think most of its range. I know it's native to Sonora, I think, as well, over on the eastern coast of the Gulf of California, and then it's native up, it looks like a pretty good ways up Baja California, but the place excuse me, I actually got a picture of it. Super cool. I should have gotten a video, but I only had a second to snap it. When we were flying in over this remote area, I actually saw a Washingtonia robusta Mexican fan palm oasis in the desert canyon. It was awesome. I'll show that picture probably on my channel at some point. I'm gonna post it when I get home. So they are native here, and what I was trying to say is that this area, at least, as I mentioned, it's a tropical desert. So we're actually in the tropics. We're south of the Tropic of Capricorn, and yeah, it's a tropical desert, and it's interesting because Mexican fan palm is native here. It is actually native to the tropics, at least in part of its range. So would it be? It's like a sable. I guess, yeah, it's Sable minor. I guess Sable minor is definitely more of a subtropical species. I don't know if it's even technically native to the tropics in parts of Florida, but it's like a Sable palmetto, a tropical species. How would you categorize it? Is it both? Because it's a decent portion of its range is in the subtropics, but I think it's native all the way to the Yucatan, Mexico, which is tropical. South Florida, the Caribbean, that's all tropical. So it's interesting to see palms native to multiple ecosystems like that. Yeah, just fascinating, but. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm just sitting here on this chair here at the place we're staying. Beautiful view of the Pacific sunset here in Cabo. Cabo sunsets cannot be beat. It's beautiful here. And yeah, as I mentioned, 71 degrees out, just, perfect. Got my t-shirt, short sleeve t-shirt and shorts on. It's awesome. By the way, my red star cordyline leaves collapsed. Oh wow, yeah, so people always say cordylines like zone 8B species. They seem decently hardy. I've seen some that I think made it even through the winter here just fine and protected. I really don't know much about their hardiness because they're very popular. You see them in the Pacific Northwest, the British Isles a lot in colder climates. That's not that those are so cold compared to DC, but like Pacific Northwest, I've seen some in what are probably pretty similar to DC, obviously a bit warmer. But I always wondered how they do here because you see them all the time planted out as annuals. But I gotta imagine they're hardier than Zone 8B, I would think, but I don't know. I'm sorry to hear that though. Stem feels a little soft, Oh, sorry. How to revive it? Definitely. There's it's called copper fungicide. That's one thing. It's like a spray you can get. I don't have that, and I've never used it. What I use is, which works usually just as well, is hydrogen peroxide. Just if you have hydrogen peroxide around the house, or you can get it at like any drugstore, get some hydrogen peroxide, spray that down the crown, spray it pour some down into the growth point where that spear is, and hopefully it'll help save it. And what it does is it kills any bacterial infection. Not that necessarily it's suffering from bacterial infection. Obviously, I'm sure it's the cold that's killing it. That's showing that damage, but after the cold happens, you've got this sort of rot that's forming from, you got this bacteria. You want to kill that with some hydrogen peroxide, just like that. So yeah, get some hydrogen peroxide, just pour it down there. Don't drown it, but certainly put a good amount. It's, I don't know if that's with a sole factor in my palms recovery, obviously, but let's just say it certainly helped with the recovery of my palms that are spear pulled in the past. So yeah, hoping your cordyline does well. Those are beautiful, the red star. I'm sorry to hear that. Sounds like it was a good size. Fell over from the freeze. That's awful though that it fell over, but sounds like it was a good size probably. Went down to 9 degrees. 9 degrees. Okay, interesting. Maybe it didn't get down to like 7 where I was. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it got to single digits, but I feel like Laurel's slightly north of where we are. Probably a bit colder. I don't know. I mean, you guys are pretty much the same, but yeah, that's interesting. Brought it inside the house. That's smart. Oh, was it in a pot? Yeah, definitely. I would say if you can bring it inside, and they're also having nice warm temps there right now. But I would say definitely, that if you can get that cordyline in some warm weather, yeah, fungicide exactly. Hey, tropical garden guy Jeff. Oh my gosh, thank you for joining in. Jeff is in. You're in Modesto, right? Modesto, California. I watch your videos a lot, and Jeff's got a great channel about growing all sorts of tropical and various other exotic plants, and of course palms in Modesto, California. Is Modesto? I think Modesto's in the Central Valley. I'm pretty sure. Is it near like Sacramento? It's like south of Sacramento, near Fresno. That's awesome. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that seems like a cool area. That I went over the summer, drove from San Francisco to. This was like 2 summers ago now. I think I did a summer trip to Yosemite, like a hiking trip. It was amazing, and the diversity of ecosystems from San Francisco Bay to Yosemite is crazy. The number of ecosystems you go through, and also the temperature ranges. In the San Francisco in the summer, it's like in the 60s. Inland, it's like 110 or something, 105 when we were there. And then Yosemite also gets cold at night and really hot in the day. It was amazing. California is just so amazing. That's all where I've always said it's my dream to move. Although I gotta admit, Baja California is pretty cool. All the Californias are fascinating. This area though is pretty neat. It's like an extension of California in a lot of ways. But it's also warmer. We're warmer than anywhere in California down here. As I mentioned, all the lows here right now are in the 60s, highs in the 70s, upper 70s most days. And just gorgeous. Coconut palms everywhere, as you can see. These ones, as I mentioned, are a bit over pruned. They over prune them a lot at the hotels. And obviously they remove the coconuts themselves, which is smart in public areas because, they can hurt people if they fall. But yeah, I was wondering about this. Do you guys think it's kind of like sea grape, but I'm not sure. I wonder if this is a native species here. Beautiful. Whatever it is, lots of evergreens. Almost every plant you see here is evergreen. Just beautiful. But yeah, beautiful sunset view. I'm just sitting here on one of these, look at this thing here. One of these. It's really nice. Awesome. Got it. Yeah, we are on the way to Yosemite. That's awesome, Jeff. Yeah, that's just a beautiful, beautiful area. California, just the amount of the diversity of ecosystems and all the different natural places just fascinate me. I'm a big national parks person. I love going to national parks. So I've been to 3 in California. I've been to Joshua Tree, Channel Islands, and what's the third one? Yosemite. Sorry, of course, as I mentioned. And yeah, I just love it. California's the best. And I'm part of an allergy clinic program in Long Beach, so I've gone out there pretty frequently over the past couple of years. So it's been great getting lots of palmy videos out there. So many palms out there, obviously. Sea grape. Yes, awesome. It's beautiful. Look at the size of these. Beautiful broadleaf evergreen. I'm assuming that's native here. There's also, by the way, native mangroves here. Even though it's a tropical desert, there are native mangroves here. 'Cause, we're in the tropics. So it's pretty neat. A pretty fascinating ecosystem. I don't know if Jeff, if you've ever been down to Baja, but it's pretty cool. And yeah, as I mentioned, in many ways, climatically, the architecture, you name it. In a lot of ways, it's an extension of California, or California is an extension of Baja. They're all they got a lot of similarities. It keeps me. I keep on forgetting how much palms I have. Sorry, I have. Oh, Neanth Bella. Yeah, exactly. Chemindoria elegans, Majesty palm. Oh, very nice, very nice. Great species. Those are 2 of the best palm species for pots. They tolerate indoor conditions really well, so that's awesome. I actually just got a Camadoria radicalis. Now I'm away for a number of days, so hopefully it's done okay. I watered it a lot before I left. I just got that for my birthday, I think. Was it for my birthday? Yeah, I got it as the gift. So that's awesome. Camadoria radicalis, probably the hardiest super tropical looking palm species in the world, I'd say. You know, Traycarpus fortunei, love it, but it's not a super tropical looking palm. Just, you know, from the standpoint of it doesn't have like a, you know, the crown shaft or the pinnate leaves. I would say Camadoria radicalis, hardiest tropical looking species. And seems to actually have good hardiness in Maryland, you know, with a bit of protection. So I'm very excited about that one. A relative of Camadoria elegans, but a bit hardier. There's actually a picture of one, insect wildlife, somewhere near where you are in Laurels, somewhere in that area, who had a Camadoria radicalis. So you should give it a try. If you could find, they're very rare online, but I was able to find one, and they are great palms. And someone had one that survived the 2014 Arctic outbreak, that terrible polar vortex we had in 2014. It survived that with only like a cardboard tube and like someone stuffed some paper in it, no heating whatsoever. It may have died to the suckers, I forget, but it survived that freeze, which has surprised me a lot. That's what made me want to try it here. Lots of times. Oh, that's awesome, Jeff. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you must know this area well. But yeah, Baja is awesome. I didn't realize how far it is, though. I think the whole Baja Peninsula is actually longer than California, and it's broken up into two states. You got Baja California in the north, Baja California Sur in the south, where we are. And it is like I looked it up, it's a 22.5-hour drive to San Diego, so it is a long way. We're a long ways from there. Got to be at least a 3-hour flight, I'd guess. But much closer than DC. We had to connect in Detroit from Cincinnati, Ohio, when I was there. It was wind chills of -30 in Cincinnati. Awful, awful, brutal weather. And then we went to Detroit just to connected, came here, and it was just, you know, paradise here. Perfect weather. How's your weather, by the way, Jeff? Are you guys, I'm guessing you guys are probably in the 50s and 60s this time of year. We're in the 50s and 60s in DC this week after our deep freeze. Just crazy warm spell right now. High of 55 in DC today, high of 60 tomorrow. So that's awesome. Beautiful radicalis. Oh, that's awesome, Jeff. 10 feet tall. My gosh. Yeah, those are perfect, obviously perfect palms for your climate. You see them a lot in, you know, Los Angeles, Southern and Northern California. Probably, you can grow them all the way up to literally to British Columbia, coastal British Columbia. I know people like Joe on Salt Spring Island who grow them unprotected for 30 years in coastal British Columbia. Very hardy palms. It's amazing how hardy they are. They're from near the Texas border, actually. It's just south of South Texas, in the mountains in Tamaulipas, Mexico. They're from a tropical climate, but they're from the mountains, so they're super hardy. That's amazing. Commodore, hey, Cal, good to see you from the UK. That's awesome. I'm here in Cabo San Lucas, just on the southern tip of the Baja Peninsula, Mexico's Pacific coast. A tropical desert climate here. Fascinating ecosystem. And yeah, palming paradise here, 71 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is, like 23 Celsius, something like that. Yeah, I think that's right. Anyways, 22, 23 Celsius, something like that. My Majesty spear pulled, sorry. Majesty spear pulled back in August. Oh, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, oh, did you, interesting. I'm surprised the spear pulled in August. It should be still warm enough for it then. Oh, yeah, huh. I wonder if it's like spider mites or something. Insect wildlife. I'd say, I mean, with the peroxide, I would recommend you got to keep applying it. I don't know how often. I think I did it pretty much like weekly at least. I would say usually after a spear pull, apply the peroxide multiple times. Yeah, August was a long time ago, so unfortunately it may be a goner. But I would say don't get rid of a palm. If the leaves are still green, don't get rid of it until you know for certain. And another thing also is you could always saw through the trunk if it's been a long time. I would say recommend sawing through the trunk, seeing if there's any live growth down there. So yeah, but I'm sorry to hear that. 3-hour flight to Cabo. Is that from you, Jeff? Is that from Modesto or from? What is the nearest airport to you, or is that from Los Angeles or San Diego? Because that is not bad at all. It's a 5-hour flight to us to LA from us. 4.5 if you're flying backward with the wind, but that is not bad at all. That is amazing. Yeah, so close to California, and you know, generally speaking, but it's a long drive. You know, I think it's further than people think, because Cabo's way down there on the Pacific coast. Rain. Oh, I mean, for you guys, that's awesome. You guys, I know, you know, California's obviously had crazy drought the last few years. Driving through it, you see how many of the forests have either been burned or just have died from drought, bark beetle infestation. Fahrenheit, that's not bad at all. Hey, Palmtree dude, great to see you. Yeah, I was out today and we got, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, exactly, crazy warm spell after the freeze. I mean, it's just, what can you say, crazy weather. That's awesome though. When I get back, it'll be, in the 60s for like 4 or 5 days, and then the 50s, then it'll drop off a bit to probably more average temperatures in the 40s, but that's awesome. You gotta enjoy that. Soak up the sunshine while you can. That's what I'm trying to do here before we go back, although it will be nice, as I mentioned, for a few days. Some of the coconuts look slightly, oh yeah, insect wildlife, these are all over trimmed. It's unfortunate, and also you see some that look, let me find it. Yeah, you see some that look like this. I don't know if this is a result of over trimming or what. Excuse me. But yes, I mean, you see that a lot. A lot of the hotels, they're over trimmed, but there's some that are just gorgeous full crowns. I don't know, it's just what they do. They do it with a lot of the palms, but what can you say? It looked like a white fungus and the fronds were yellow. Oh, I'm sorry. Insect wildlife, yeah, that sounds like some sort of, that's not, what's it called? Spider mites. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I would say any sort of peroxide like that, I would try, but sorry about that. Planning a camera ad at my bro-in-law house, and oh wow, near Yosemite. Is it like in one of those is it in one of those mountain towns up near Yosemite, like Placerville or something? Because I went up to those towns are gorgeous, and I was surprised. Some of them are way up there in the mountains, and they've got, of course, massive trackies like you've never seen, and also huge Folifera and Robusta, some huge ancient ones. That's awesome. Those beautiful old Victorian buildings and everything. Those towns are awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I bet. I always wondered how some of the palms would do, like up in Yosemite, like if some of the hardiest palms were growable in some of those colder places. One thing I was wondering, do you know if there's any palms in Independence, California? Because it's like a solid, I think, Zone 8B or something. And yet, when I looked on Google Street View, there's palms in the town south of it. But that area looks like it'd be great for washies. But I didn't see any on Google Maps. That's just a random question, but I was wondering. There's some great areas up that I'd love to know how palms would do, like up northeastern California, up in the high desert. I always wondered about that. But yeah, very palmy. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yep, SFO. Oh, SFO, got it. Wow, 3 hours from... Okay, that's actually crazy. Then from San Diego or LA, it must be like 2.5 hours or something. That's amazing. Enjoying the palms. Yes, Gabriel's Palms. Where are you, by the way, are you in Idaho? No, I must be getting that wrong. Let me know where you are, Gabriel's Palms. But that's awesome. Yes, I'm very much enjoying the palms. So if you guys check my videos, I've got more on the way. I've got lots of videos. Yeah, these coconuts, unfortunately, are a bit over trimmed, but this is the only place I can do the live stream since we had to come back for dinner. But and yeah, obviously we don't have internet connection in the town, but what was I gonna say, there's some gorgeous, like, probably, I mean, coconuts here grow taller than they can in Florida usually, because often they'll get struck by lightning or something in Florida. So this is some of the tallest you'll see coconuts out here. There's some that I saw that were probably easily 60-70 feet with tons of loaded with coconuts and full crowns. They look just like something out of the tropics. I mean, sorry, we are in the tropics obviously, but like something out of Hawaii or something. Just gorgeous. Huge coconuts here. I'm loving the palms. Yes. Is that a sea grape? Yes. Sorry, I was just mentioning this earlier. Yes, this is a sea grape. Beautiful species here. I don't know which one this is. Might be a native species for all I know, but there's actually Palmstream. There's actually native mangrove here, by the way, as well. I think maybe black mangrove, some other species. There's like at least 2 or 3 species of mangrove native here to some of the estuaries, even though it's a desert. It's just fascinating. Just a really, really cool place. Native Washingtonia robusta that I've seen here. I saw it for some for playing in one of the canyons. So native robusta is native here. Brahea brandegii, I think it's called, is native here. And sorry, I'm checking the time. Got to get back somewhat soon. And what else? Brahea armata, I don't think is native all the way down here, but it is native to Baja California. So you've got, is that it? Yeah, I think there's 3 species. There's 6 species, I think, native to Sonora, which is the state on the other side of the Gulf up north by like Arizona. You got Sable Ursana and some other Braheas. And then I think to Baja, there are only 3 natives. No, sorry, 4. Wait, no, might only be 3. I know Washingtonia foliifera is native to Mexico, but I don't remember if it's native to Sonora, or there's like one or two locations where it's native. I think, no, sorry, of course it's native to the northern part of Baja, in the desert, yes. So 4 native species here, I believe. Wow, I would have thought of mangroves when thinking. I know, exactly. It's awesome. I if you're interested in the plants here, and I think it's cool just as like a reference for plants to grow, even if you don't go to Baja, or you know, you're not from here. I'm not, obviously, but I got some books on the cacti and succulents of Baja. Great book. And I got one on the. I wish I had it with me. It's back in the room, but I have one on the. It's called the. Like Plant Field Guide of Baja California, and it's a huge book. It's got everything. Really great. It talks about, there's a section on the palms native here, so that's really cool. There's a huge section on cacti and succulents, and then there's also sections on the mangrove. It talks about the mangroves, several, I think 3 species that are native here, which is just awesome. Yeah, it is so fascinating. And I also, by the way, went snorkeling here. You never really imagine it, almost by looking at the landscape. The landscape, you know, a lot of it almost looks like something out of California and Arizona. Really, a lot of it does, especially with these giant cardone cacti, which are actually the tallest in the world, taller than the saguaro, believe it or not. And they're native here, but it's also a little bit lusher. You know, even though it's a desert, you got lots of other evergreen species that growing besides it. And as I was saying, you never really notice it from looking at it, but you know, since we are in the tropics, they've got lots of amazing coral reefs just offshore. We went snorkeling at one of the beaches. As soon as you go in, it's just like, it's amazing. The tropical fish everywhere, coral everywhere, just gorgeous, gorgeous place. I bet, you know, with the warming seas, I bet this area is probably a pretty stable place for coral, because we're probably towards the northern end of coral, of where the reefs are. You know, it gets a bit cooler here. It's interesting. It's probably one of the cooler areas where coconuts grow, just in terms of like in winter, you know, because it's dry and it's a bit cooler. You know, probably one of the cooler areas of the tropics. Yeah, it's interesting actually, because we're sort of just barely in the tropics here, but we are. But it is, you know, in the winter, I'm sure it gets in the 50s sometimes. Yeah. Is the air dry? So, Palmstream, the air is relatively dry, although right now it's like 66% humidity. If you go to like the feels like, it usually feels a little bit the same temperature or cooler than is listed because of wind. But yesterday it was like 1 degree warmer because of humidity, it actually said. So even though this is a dry climate, there is, what was I going to say? Even though it's a dry climate, there is some humidity because of the oceanic influences being here on the Pacific. And yeah, it's just, you know, obviously because we're on the ocean, you do have some residual humidity. And I bet, I wonder in summer though, because it gets in the 90s here, I wonder if that's more dry or humid, because that's when they get most of their rain. But winters here are relatively, you know, compared to anywhere back east, this is a dry climate. It's very dry. But winters here are, you know, sunny, you know, a bit of clouds today, but you know, obviously overall sunny and just beautiful, dry. Sorry, let me read this. The mysterious part is that there's a smaller one next to the one with the white fungus or yellow, but the spear is fine and never pulled. Huh. Oh, spear never opened. Yeah, that just sounds like some sort of bug infestation or something. I really don't know. But insect wildlife, but that is, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, there's unfortunately a lot of, you know, various pests that can be attacking potted palms and stuff like that. It's a problem we have to deal with. You know, my coconut certainly has been getting some spotting lately. I don't know if it's spider mites or what, but I got to take care of that, you know, being indoors. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that. I would recommend just, one other thing I'd recommend for the future, and hopefully for this palm, if it pulls through, keep it showered off, definitely. Like, you know, obviously I'm sure you're watering your palms, but often, you know, when you just water the soil, the leaves stay dry, and it's not that the leaves need to be wet, but what happens is the spider mites, which are these pests, you know, they basically infest the leaves. But if you keep the leaves dry, if you keep the leaves wet, you can keep those spider mites away. So always, I'd say every week at least, keep your like put your palm in the shower, rinse some water of those leaves, just sort of shower it all off to keep those spider mites away. It can certainly help prevent them. That is similar to the dry areas of the Canary Islands then. Yes, exactly. Very dry, but the humidity is still 60, 70%. Yes, exactly. It's very interesting. It feels very dry, but yeah, there is. I feel like the last few days might have been a bit more humid, but you don't really feel it at all. It feels very nice and dry, and it's breezy right now, right about probably 70 Fahrenheit. Yeah, like 22 Celsius, something like that. So I mean, you can't get much more perfect than this, and the sunset just beautiful there. The ocean, by the way, it's actually too rough to go in here. We had to go to another beach. There's some big waves, but if you go, like I got some pictures of it during the day, just really blue, beautiful water. Um, yeah, I wonder how it is in the summer because I think it would get some humidity. Yeah, exactly. I bet it would. And in some areas here, I think Cabo is probably the coolest area in summer on the peninsula. It looks like the inland areas get a lot hotter, like probably close to 100 average. The average high here, I think in Cabo in summer is like 92 or something like that. So it's toasty. It's not like Arizona levels, but it is certainly warmer than SoCal, Southern California. But it's interesting. I really wonder what it feels like. I was in New Mexico when it was, I think the hottest I ever experienced was in New Mexico. It was 107 on one of our hikes. We were white sands, and the sand actually does not reflect heat because it's white. It's a gypsum. So it actually didn't feel too bad. It was hot out, very, very hot out, but it wasn't like insane, like 107 and humid. It was dry. So I bet it wouldn't be too bad, like 92 here in the summer. DC average is 89, but we're humid in summer. So it's interesting. Yeah, I wonder about that. I bet you're right. Nice palms, Alex. Hope you're out. Oh, thank you so much, Jason. If I remember correctly, you're somewhere in southern Alberta. I forget where. Remind me of your location, but I know you're in Alberta. Yeah, you are in Alberta, right? In Alberta, Canada. Beautiful area. That's really cool. Is the weather? I would imagine is a bit chilly this time of year. I can only imagine. I was in Cincinnati. Coldest it got there. It just had a record-breaking Arctic blast when right. Funnily enough, as the time when I was there over the holidays was when it got the coldest. Temperatures down to -7, -8, and wind chill of like in the -30s. It was brutal. Now they're having weather in the 60s when we weren't there, but unfortunately we were there for the worst of it. But it was a pretty dramatic. If you include wind chill, it's actually 100 degrees warmer right now than it was in Cincinnati, if you can believe it. And it is not hot out at all. It's perfect out, but that is just insane. It was another experience. I've never experienced anything that cold. Coldest I've ever experienced was probably single digits back in 2014. I was pretty young then. I was younger then, certainly. So I wasn't like measuring the weather very much. I don't actually know how cold it got, but I'm guessing in my location. I think I actually remember checking the weather. It got to like, yeah, certainly in the single digits. I think down to at least 5. At most 5, probably maybe colder. But yeah, Jason, that's awesome. Now live in Vulcan, Alberta. Is that like, I'm assuming that's somewhere is that in the south of Alberta? Is it southeast, southwest? Is it towards the Rockies or towards the plains? Let me know. Because Alberta's got some beautiful, like I know Banff and Jasper, those national parks, gorgeous areas. The lakes up in the mountains in Alberta are just pristine, super clear blue. I'd love to see them sometimes. Probably in the summer though, because it is cold there, no doubt. That's awesome though. I over-fertilized my Bella palm and it burned the roots. I repotted the palm, don't worry. Oh, got it. Yes, see, I have, believe it or not, never fertilized my palms. I've used organic fertilizer like coffee grounds and stuff like that, compost. Never actually bought fertilizer and used it. I probably should, like Palm Gain or something. I'm sure some of my palms would benefit, but over fertilizing is certainly an issue. You can have too much of a good thing, obviously. Burn the roots, repotted the palm. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I'd say just keep it water. Probably don't fertilize it for a little while. Should be fine. But I'm glad to hear it's doing better. That's good. You got a lot of palms, insect wildlife. That's awesome. Insect wildlife is right near where I live. He's in Laurel, Maryland. Yeah, you're in Laurel, Maryland, and I'm in just north of DC, Montgomery County, Bethesda, Maryland. Jason, 1 hour drive from Lethbridge in Calgary. That's awesome. Okay, I know where that is. Yeah, I know where Calgary is, like right near the edge of the Rockies, if I'm not mistaken. That's really cool. Calgary's a big city. That's neat. We hit 6.6 degrees. Sorry, I gotta head back soon. We hit 6.6 degrees Fahrenheit in my backyard from this cold snap. Wow. That's chilly. So you guys might even miss slightly. Yeah, I think we hit 6 or 7. It is a low. That's what I saw when I looked at the weather app. Obviously, I wasn't there actually. I didn't protect my palms. Maybe I should have protected my big trackie. But it actually got colder than forecasted. It looked like 6 or 7. Although now, what's his name? Insect Wildlife is saying that it got down to 9 where he was. So I don't know. Maybe it Maybe it hit. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a little warmer than that, but that's crazy. I wonder if your camera ops, yeah, your camera ops might show some damage. I would imagine, but that camera ops, by the way, in Palmstream, your camera ops is incredible. It's got to be one of the most northern growing unprotected camera ops. You know, I mean, that is, you really got that thing through at the critical years, and now it's just sort of been doing, you know, smoother sailing, shall we say, getting through those winters. That's just amazing. I know there's one unprotected near the Philly area, which is incredible, which I've actually seen pictures of. There's a big one near Philadelphia, unprotected. But that is awesome. You're one of the most northern ones. I still want to try a Cerifera. I still think Camerops is growable unprotected, at least marginally, since you're growing them unprotected, not far from DC. But unfortunately, mine died last winter. No extreme palm damage. Yeah, I bet my Fortuna is gonna have some burning. Um, I'm just, yeah, exactly. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it is not nothing too horrible where we were, but it was cold. London, their coldest. Oh yes, I heard about that. Cal, is everything? Are any of the palms showing damage? I wonder. I would think the Canary Island day palms might show a little bit of burning, but shouldn't be any killing weather. But that's crazy. It was freezing there. I hope you guys are warming up a bit. I believe DC stayed a bit warmer. Yes. Looked like DC, the city itself, which is always about 1 or 2 degrees warmer than where I am. Like the heart of the city, probably. I don't even know if it dipped into single digits. Probably stayed in the teens. Maybe got to like 9 or something. But yeah. Yeah, it's going to be defoliated. It still has green now, but I know I'll be cutting all the fronds off in the spring. Yes. Are you talking about the camera ops? Yeah. Has it spear pulled, or do you think it's going to? Hopefully it does all right. If I'm correct, does your camera ops have 2 trunks on it? It's a big camera ops. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so jealous of that. That is really, really cool. This time I actually threw pine needles on the trunks, but I have no clue if it made any difference. Yeah, I should have done that. I did that with my Sable Etonia and 2 of my small trackies, but I wonder if it looked like they might have gotten blown around by the wind or something. Afraid of losing any of the trunks. Yeah, exactly. I know those trunks are prized. Yeah, I'm sure it made some difference. Pine needles have great insulation. That's amazing. Yeah, exactly. You've got yours unprotected there. That's really cool. No extra heat or anything like that. I don't know. I think any of the Canary Island day palms got damaged. I think the king palms. Oh yeah, really? That's crazy. The fact that there's king palms growing in the UK just blows me away. It's amazing. So cool. And Kentish too. That's amazing. The city center got down to 28 to 30. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, I mean for a brief enough period that will not damage, but that's interesting. Yeah. London's got an amazingly warm urban heat island as well. So it's even warmer than places south of it, which is nice. Alex, I have a question. Do you get a phyto certificate from the USDA agriculture building near the border? If so, I were. Yeah, I don't know what the process is for. Do you get a phyto certificate? That is a good question. I have no idea how the process works to bring plants across the border. I wonder how it would work if I bought like a palm here and brought it back. I've seen some nice nurseries here, but obviously nothing that I could grow in DC. That is something that I would ask someone else. I unfortunately don't know. If so, yeah, I mean, you can probably, I can imagine you could bring some stuff back to Alberta from the U.S. I don't know. Has 2 flowers, trunks. That's amazing. Yeah, it is a good sized palm. I want to see, yeah, you should do an update on that soon. It's just a beautiful palm that you got. Everyone, yeah, you should check out Palmstream Dude's channel and Jason Gillies as well. Some of you other guys have channels too. Great videos of local hardy palms. Love it. I feel like the reason why the Cordy Lion leaves fell over. Yes. Certainly, yes. The freeze and thaw is a real thing. It actually sometimes be worse to have like really hot temperatures afterwards, as opposed to just having average, like what DC's having now. We're having some of this warm spell. It's sort of like putting like. You never want to put burning hot water on someone with frostbite. You want to sort of gradually warm them up, like put lukewarm. First you want to put cold water, then you put lukewarm water, then gradually warm up. It's sort of like that. Having this sort of like freeze, what's it called? Oh, there's some, I forget, yeah. Basically the freeze thaw where you have like warm, cold, warm, cold. That can actually be a big problem sometimes. Um, yeah, I bet that's true. Hopefully it recovers. Beautiful there. Yes, JT, thank you so much for joining in. Great to see you here. It is really gorgeous here. Beautiful coconut palms in the sunset. These ones, obviously, as you can see, probably a bit over trimmed, but beautiful view. And yeah, lots of coconuts here. Beautiful palmy area. Lots of Bismarck palms, Royals, lots of Manila slash Christmas palms. I don't know, they're called both things, but Adenidium morellii, lots of those here, which obviously, again, along probably even less hardy than the coconut maybe. I know there are a few in Southern California, but very tough to grow there. Everywhere here, huge ones. So nice warm climate, huge Dipsis lutescens, of course, Washingtonia robusta, which is native. Various brahea. I've seen some Thrynax radiata, Florida thatch palm. It's interesting. Ciagaris actually aren't as common as you'd expect. There's a few around, but not a ton. But obviously they do great here. Number of those. What else? I'm trying to think if I've seen any sables. I don't actually think I have. Yeah, no sables that I've seen so far. Certainly some other species though. Beautiful. And of course, yeah, date palms. My friend tried bringing back a dwarf coconut. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. Dwarf coconut palm. Oh, that's awful, JT. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Joe from Salt Spring Island, Canada. He tried to send me Banana Joe. He tried to send me some seeds. They got confiscated too. Yeah, I think they've just tightened up with the rules recently with the what you can and can't bring. It probably helps for like keeping pests out. Like I know a lot of most invasive insects in the U.S. that kill plants were brought in from nurseries from elsewhere. But unfortunately, yeah, that does mean issues like that. I'm sorry, that's terrible. Do you know what zone? Sorry, do you know what zone it is? Oh my gosh, yeah, Palmstream, dude. I don't know, because it obviously, the lowest lows right now are in the 60s. So, I mean, all lows are in the 60s, but nothing in the 50s that I've seen. So it's got to be like zone 12A, because there's parts that are zone 11A in Southern California. I bet it's literally zone 12A here, at least 11B, because I know there's parts of Southern California, the warmest of warm, that are 11A. So, and this is way south of there. So it's crazy warm here. Perfect out right now. I love looking at Puerto Rico on the USDA map and seeing it. I know, yeah, Palmstream, yeah, because obviously it's part of the U.S., they have it included on a lot of the maps when they show Hawaii, Alaska, and Puerto Rico. And yeah, it's so funny to look at, the rest of the U.S. with this crazy varying climate zones. In Puerto Rico, exactly, it's all 12B, 13A. So warm there. And unlike Miami, which is also tropical, they don't get the freezes at all. So Miami's right on the, part of the continent. They get freezes there. It actually got in the 40s recently in Miami's. It was freezing. Just the whole country was freezing, basically, in the east. In Miami, it was in the 40s. Poor people were vacationing there. Couldn't go in the water, probably. It was freezing there. But, yeah, it's crazy. U.S. border control is strict at the airports, yeah. Oh, wow, yeah. U.S. is definitely very strict, yeah. That's nice, though. You can probably import palms from Europe and stuff. This past month, I collected a ton of needle palm seeds. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yes. I've heard they have a really weird smell. That's crazy. Yeah. I got to head back now, guys. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to end the live stream, but let me just finish reading this. Yes. I've heard they smell really weird. Where did you collect them, by the way? Because I know in DC, they're very hard to come by. Not a lot of needle palms produce seed where we are. Record low temp in Cabo, 32. Wow. Jeff, that's interesting. That's actually lower than I would have expected, because I think the lowest in LA ever was like 29. So that's actually interesting. That's cold, but I bet it rarely gets in the 40s here. Very rarely. Probably doesn't even get in the 50s that much. Probably maybe in the midwinter. But yeah, thank you, Jeff, JT, Cal, Palmstream dude, all you guys in there, Jason. Thank you so much. Thank you, Palmstream dude. I will. Got basically tomorrow morning left. We're leaving. Excuse me. We got the hiccups now. We're leaving tomorrow, so it's gonna be just a bit of time left here. Almost done, but it is just gorgeous down here. What a beautiful place. Like California, but even warmer. Would a trucking sable have a similar hardiness as so usually they're certainly less hardy than sable minor, but there's some great hardy ones like sable brazoria. Sable Birmingham is probably the hardiest trunking sable, followed by sable brazoria. Sorry, and if you include sable Louisiana, that's probably the hardest. Then sable Birmingham, sable brazoria. So there are some great hardy trunking sables, similar in hardiness to sable minor, but sable minor is the is the king of hardy sables. Question: the Eastern prickly pear, Apache food. So where can you find them? Oh, yes. Insect wildlife. You know the Billy Goat Trail? I have a video of one there, actually. There's tons there back here. Hopefully the connection's still staying. But Jeff, thank you so much. Ordered hybrid winnow palm seeds from Joe. Oh wow, that's awesome. Oh wow, it went through. Okay, there you go. So maybe they do have some exceptions. That's awesome, JT. Yes. Sorry, I just moved around. It probably is glitchy, but look at that view. Beautiful, right on the coast here. So, signing off from the Pacific coast of Mexico here, Cabo San Lucas, Baja California Sur, in Mexico. Yeah, gotta love it. Take care, folks. Stay palmy, and hopefully the weather will warm up a bit. DC having some nice weather right now, so I'm actually excited to go back and enjoy that. But yeah, it was nice while it lasted while we were out here. Just a beautiful. Stay tuned. Got more videos on the way from here, so stay tuned. Take care, folks. Thanks for joining in.